I just finished the day at Pagan Pride. Oh my goodness, what a fantastic day. I'm sitting in my car, I'm talking into my headphones. I apologize for this recording. This is going to be messy and it's not going to be our usual equipment, but I really wanted to bring you the magic of Vancouver's Pagan Pride. I absolutely love going to this festival. I love being a part of this festival. I found this event before I was publicly practicing in Vancouver, and I would go and enjoy the day and the seminars. I love this event, and I'm really honored that I get to be a part of it. I love connecting with all of you in the Earbud Coven there. I love bringing the podcast there. I just want to showcase some of the amazing artists, vendors who are there because they're small businesses and they do amazing work. I love the vendors and the shopping there. One of a kind things, intentionally made things, handcrafted, beautiful artisan products. I got some time to go around and chat to a few people, so I'm going to bring that to you. I also hosted a seminar. I'm going to have that in here. So pop in the earbuds and close your eyes and try to imagine you're with me at Vancouver Pagan Pride.
I'm here with Amanda, the owner and operator of
Heathen Moon. Shop at Magic and Nancy. We make spiritual decor, bespoke items, future haunted objects, and divination tools.
I love that they're future haunted items. It just makes me think like you're haunting them as they leave the house.
Yeah, I mean, well, also you could also haunt your own stuff, right? So it's developing that personal folklore is one of like my dreams, right? So so being that the cryptid that you wish to see in the woods, and you know, being your own metaphysical creature is fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
And you have some beautiful, beautiful things. And the crystal grids, tell me about the crystal grids.
The crystal grids are a little bit different. We use them, we really like practical spiritual decor. So like our planchettes also double as sphere holders. So they're also a really nice way, I feel like, to close the energy of the spirit board. So they're not just kind of like open. I love layering. Layering every object. So what was your question?
Oh, the crystal grids.
The crystal grids. Okay, so I got in touch with Imogen, the Hazel Witch. We are birthday buddies.
Oh my God, she was not at her booth, but I'm going to get her soundbite.
She's wonderful. And so we met 6 years ago at Pagan Pride. We met each other on Instagram, and we got along so well via DM. And then she started curating her crystal business. And so, like 6 months ago, I was like, you know what? I really want to have crystals with our crystal grids. There's just something missing from our table when we sell them. So that's how they came to be. So they're curated. She shows everything to me before they come to us. She curates some juicy items. So we're excited to be able to offer them with our crystal grids. And she also is supplying us with our pendulums. Beautiful.
And the spirit boards, I love that they are circular. They're so powerful looking.
They were always supposed to be circular. So when Parker Brothers, copyrighted the rights to the board game Ouija, they elongated the board so that it would fit into an already made pre-made box that they had for like Monopoly and like other games.
Well, and probably also for materials, because when you're making a circle, you are leaving behind more materials than when you cut things into squares.
Very, very true. Yeah. So we really like the shape of the roundness. It gives it a really nice. I mean, I'm a sucker for all spirit boards, but for us as practitioners and people who create metaphysical art and tools, the roundness of the energy is really nice. It's a very nice container.
And where can the Earbud Coven find all your wares if they're not here in Vancouver at Pagan Pride every year?
We are at a number of different markets all around throughout the year, but you can find us online at heathenmoon.ca on Instagram, as well as just www.heathenmoon.ca.
Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you.
I have just stumbled upon the most beautiful stained glass booth. Your work is amazing. So tell me, Mark of the Valkyrie, about your artwork.
Well, I started glasswork a couple of years ago, probably about 3 years ago. I picked it up just because I wanted to try it. And then I fell in love with the craft, and my business just blossomed from there.
And where can my Earbud Coven find your art and buy your art?
So I'm on Instagram at Mark of the Valkyrie, and same with Etsy, Mark of the Valkyrie. That is what I usually sell through.
Perfect. And what has been your favorite part about this year's Pagan Awareness Day?
Just coming together with my fellow pagans and getting to meet everyone and see everyone again. And I don't know, I just love this community so much.
Well, thank you for your time. We are being treated with an amazing First Nations dancer. He's amazing and beautiful. So much power is happening today. I'm here with Cass from Sugar Face, and I'm looking at her booth, and oh my God, the doll. The doll faces, I love it. So tell me about your work and about yourself.
Well, the Barbie specifically came to me in a dream, so I had to make it that way. I just wanted to add that little note. But yeah, I'm a multimedia artist. I work with all sorts of different materials and whatnot. I do primarily make jewelry, but I also make altar decor. I've been making things since about 2016, vending since 2017.
And where can members of my Earbud Coven find all of your wares?
I have stuff in Phoenix Rising, Metaphysical Store in Langley. I also have a website, which is sugarface.com. And you can find me on Instagram, which is sugarfaceart.
Awesome. And how have you been liking Pagan Pride today? What has been your favorite thing?
Oh my God, it's so much fun here. This is my first year attending this festival, so I'm super stoked to be a part of it. I really love how interactive it is and how there's so many workshops going on and there's so much things for people to do rather than just a big market. I'm so used to just doing markets that are just markets with maybe some performances, but the workshops about this is just so cool and there's just so much to do and I love this place. It's great.
Well, I really hope that you come back again. I've been coming for years and years, so I hope to see you here again. And yeah, I'm going to take some pictures and put them in our show notes.
Oh, yay! Thank you so much.
I'm here with West Coast Macabre. I absolutely love this booth. It is, I think, one of the favorites here. Do you know that?
I'm happy to hear that.
I know, I'm totally putting you on the spot. You have a beautiful view of the ritual space. What have you liked the most this year?
So far, I noticed the opening ceremonies with the just ceremony in general. I really loved it. I wish I could be a part of it more often, but I was still setting up, unfortunately. But I got to watch it at least and be a part of it that way. So
you are a part of it,
Yeah.
even when you're busy doing your busy bee stuff. So where can we find, because all of your stuff is original, one of a kind. Do you want to tell the Earbud Coven a little bit about your amazing work?
Most of my stuff you can find mostly at these markets when I come out to them. But what I usually tell people is, if you see something, take a picture. Message me. Instagram is probably one of my most active platforms that I use. I do have a website and everything, but Instagram is probably the quickest and easiest way to see what I'm working on, see what I'm doing, where I'm going to be, and stuff like that. And if you can't make it to a market, just send me a message.
And I do want to say, because I'm going to take a couple pictures and put them in the show notes, that everything you have is ethically sourced, isn't it?
As much as possible. I mean, if it's not, then I generally don't want to work with it. Everything is done through ethically sourced suppliers, or through rescues, or through breeders, something like that. I don't work with anything that's had any kind of cruelty at all done to it. That's not what my goal is. So everything deserves its forever home, even in passing. So when you work with life, you work with death. So
that is beautiful.
Yeah.
So everyone in the Earbud Coven who is into rebirth magic and releasing magic, this is the stuff for you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time too.
So it's a Mickey Mouse phone.
I'm here with Derek Skycloud. We were just talking about sound and sound clearing because he just rattled my aura with some beautiful rattles he has. And we're talking about how sound is underestimated as a way of clearing.
It does. Actually, we may not realize it, but sound actually is important for all of us, because we look at the sound bites in your phone or in your music. You got your 48, 44.0 or 48.0. If you go over 48, actually is better for your body to balance. But why is the government or somebody actually in the music industry decided to make it go 44? Because it brings it down to a lower, so you can't reach your 48.
Okay. Right.
So if you bring it up, if anybody actually decided to download their music, and they'll give you an option to 44 or 48, you want a 48. And that means when you listen to the sound, you can hear a better, smoother pitch. And it makes you feel like you're above yourself. You feel more like you're at home, at ease, than you are actually below the level of sound. If you listen to the orcas, or the dolphins, special orcas, theirs is a 48.
Okay.
Any animal that uses a pitch, sound pitch, we relate to it. Okay, so if anybody uses the sound effect of the word Om, why do the monks use Om, the sound of Om? Because Om is 48. They didn't go Om, they went Om. See?
So what about the sound? Because I spend a lot of time in Tofino on the coast where there's ocean. I go to sleep to the ocean sound. So what about what hertz or wavelength is that? Do you know?
Actually, water is a pure energy. Okay, and it's very cleansing. Not just because you're inside of it, but when you're surrounded around it. In fact, I tell people this: if you want to learn to make contact with spirit more, or to work with your energy, any kind of life energy, stand next to the ocean. Right? Because basically water is a conduit. It'll carry it over. If you're doing a paranormal investigation, and if you're near an area where there's an ocean or even a lake, and say a house is haunted and you're right next to the lake, you're not going to receive just one message from the spirit world. You're going to get many messages because it carries on over the water. That's still related to the energy and the sound.
Like an amplifier. I've always felt like when I'm in the water or near the water and doing witchcraft work or spirit work, it's like an amplifier.
All the time. In fact, when you listen to the water carefully, when people may not realize, you stand next to it and you hear the and they're coming back and they slap and well, that's them whispering to you to walk in or step out. Where are you going to go? Walk in or step out. But it's showing you something. It's welcoming you in, and it's taking you out when you need it. When the water goes down, it's allowing you the freedom to walk away. If you want to go in, it raises itself up to you to walk in.
Thank you for your teaching.
No problem.
And if people want to find you, where can they find you?
You can find me whiteskycloud.com. I also have a radio or TV show program on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock called Shadow Talk Radio. Or you can actually find me as well on at Co-op Radio, 100.5 FM, Wednesday nights at 5 o'clock.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I'm here with
Crystal J. Raven.
And what have you created, Crystal?
What have I created? I created lots of things, but one of my favorite things that I created is a tarot deck called Vespertine Tarot.
And where can my earbud coven find your tarot deck?
Well, it's actually fresh off the press, so at this point you can either DM me personally at my IG account, http //www.instagram.com crystal_raven_studios, or you can check me on my Facebook account.
Fantastic. And hopefully we'll get a whole episode with you on the podcast.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to keep moving down the booths. I got to say, guys, though, this is like such a vibrant looking deck. There's so many animals in it, and it looked just so grounded and earthy and beautiful. I am here with Made by Morgan. Hi, Morgan.
Hi.
How do you like Pagan Pride this year?
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. There's so many wonderful people here.
What has been your favorite part? Because you have got a beautiful view of our main ritual space.
Everything. The performances so far have been just incredible. Like the dancing, I think, was my favorite.
I know I ran out of my booth and I had to go and join them. You have got amazing stuff here. You guys have got to check her out. I'm going to link her website in the show notes along with everyone else. What has been flying off the shelves the most today?
Definitely my glow-in-the-dark bracelets and my orange slice earrings.
Those are real orange slices, aren't they?
They are.
Do you want to tell us a bit about how you make them?
So I start by dehydrating the orange, and then I cut them to size, and then I coat them in resin.
They are so beautiful. When I first saw your booth, I felt like I could eat it.
Before I coat them in resin, you definitely could eat them.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Morgan. Hi, I'm Jody Ann. I'm a witch. I've been practicing witchcraft for so long that my mom thought I would grow out of this stage, and here I am in my 40s at Pagan Pride. So a long time. And there's lots of different paths and there's lots of really beautiful things, but what I wanted to teach is something kind of like a snapshot, a nutshell of something that you can take away and you can use tomorrow without really worrying about, like, am I doing this right? Is this okay? Am I evoking something I shouldn't be evoking? Just straightforward manifestation, witchcraft style. What I want to teach you, I call tarot as a tool. So I've been reading tarot cards for a long time. I love this system of divination. And a lot of people use it just for divination, but we can use it as a tool in our work. And one of the ways I like to use it is I take our basic, like a 5-card spread. Like a lot of times we'll have a 5-card spread and we'll be like, what do I need to know? And there's usually a card for this is what I know, this is what I don't know, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, and this is my outcome. And I've taken that over the years and I've judged it, and I've decided that if I can choose a significator to represent me in a deck, and if I can choose a starting point that we do in a lot of our tarot spreads, I can choose the end point. And then I can use the tarot to pick the steps that'll get me to my outcome, right? So for an example, here, this is beautiful. Here's our Empress card, right? Look at that. You can let's pass her around.
It's giving me Queen of Hearts vibes from
She totally does.
Alice in Wonderland.
So she's in deep regalia, that bright, vibrant, delicious red color in this deck. This is the, I'm using the Tarot of the Illuminati deck today. And her archetype is Empress. She's abundance. If you think about a woman about to give birth, just overflowing with abundance and life force and deliciousness, that's the Empress. So if I wanted to manifest that energy in my life, I could put that down as where I'm going, and then I draw 3 cards or 4 cards to how do I get there. And then you can really look at, okay, what lessons are coming up? So if we did this right now, for example, there's our Empress card. And everyone loves abundance. That one clearly wants to be here. Everyone loves abundance, so we'll just use it as everyone's abundance. There's another one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do 3. And they're just jumping out. So, that's the. We're doing 4. We're going to take that one. That's when it feels right. Okay, so we would read it with, we want to go to abundance. So we'd have a look and we'd say, okay, the 9 of Wands, Princess of Cups came up, and the Star card came up. So if I was reading this, now I know all my definitions in my head, right? So the 9 of Wands is always about working towards a goal. So I would be looking at in my life, if the 9 of Wands came up, does that mean I'm too focused on my goal and not enough on joy? Am I not focused enough on my goal? And I would kind of feel into the card and get the reading of it. Like, what does this 9 of Wands mean in relation to me living in abundance? Do I need to have a long-term goal? Am I wanting to maybe put more work or more effort into abundance or a creative endeavor or something, right? Then I would look at the Princess of Cups. Well, she just looks beautiful. So the Princess of Cups, she signifies the beginning of creativity, right? She's a court card. She's in the water element, so she's inspiration. And the Star card is all about building out of what has fallen and new beginnings. So if I really want abundance in my life, and I do feel like these are my cards, I need to focus on inspiration and creativity and know that I can build out of anything that is before me. No matter how much I've lost or how much I've gained, I can build, and I have the power of rebirth, right? So those are the kinds of ways you can start using the tools to get the information you need. I feel like a lot of times what's kind of out there when you start getting into divination and oracle cards or tarot cards is people open up and they say, I'm open to the information that I need right now. And that's great. But I've always found that the spirits and the gods are pretty elusive. So if you're just open to hearing something positive, you're just going to get a positive message, and you feel good in the moment. But then a week later, you're like, okay, but I'm still dissatisfied with the amount of creativity I have at my job. I still have a trip I'd like to go on, and I'm not sure if I should go with my best friend or if I should go with my boyfriend. Right? We still have real questions in our lives, and we can actually use it as a tool in many ways to get the specific information we want. Is that making sense?
Do you read the cards reversed?
I used to. When I started reading the cards, I started reading them reversed. It's a really good way because there's so much symbology in tarot. Like if we look at, what do I have here? The Lover's card. And these are really vibrant cards. There's a lot going on. So the Lovers is always about choice, right? So when I started reading, I would let anyone shuffle my cards. I've always been someone who lets anyone shuffle my cards. Like you shuffle them and they will invert them and unvert them. And then I started to know, even when it was upright, if it was the negative aspect of the card, just based on the other cards around it. I find one of the biggest tools is working with a spread. So when I first started learning the Celtic cross, that's a lot of cards, right? You've got a significator, you've got something that crosses it, you've got the 4 around, and then you've got another 4. You're reading like 10 cards, and as a noob, you're like, oh my God, there's so much. And the reverse and unreverse can help you know what aspect. If you're a new reader, I would suggest reading just a mini Celtic cross. Just put one significator in there, or maybe you don't put the significant in there and it's just you, and you put the main problem, whatever's crossing you, what's behind you, what's before you, the foundation, and a spirit message. And then you can kind of get a sense, like, if you get a really positive card in your space of the past, you can know, and you're coming out of like a gross phase, you're like, oh, that means I'm done, right? If it's upside down, you can know, oh, I'm still working on that. And the more you get to know your deck and the more you trust your intuition, you'll just look at them, and by the brightness or darkness or the feeling they give you, you'll know what aspect of the card it is. And for me, I find that starts opening it up even more. Because once you understand the negative aspect of the card, the positive aspect of the card, you can start reading all the shades of gray in between the black and white, which is where the wisdom lives. Does that make sense? Yeah, are there other questions? So another way we can use tarot as a tool, if we have an altar and we're manifesting, a really good way is to go through your deck and find a card that represents or is a good representation of what you're manifesting. And then you put it on your altar, or even better, you put it in your bathroom on your mirror. And then every time you're there, and then you can do your positive affirmation with the card, and you can use it as almost like an energy focusing point, so that anything you're trying to manifest, you use it as a tool to keep that energy grounded. When we first start on our journeys, and even like for me, at different aspects of my life when I'm less grounded, I can't keep my energy contained. I can't keep it focused. Like no matter how many years I've been doing this, when I'm going through transition, it's really hard to keep my imposter syndrome and the old tapes that doubt who I am and how amazing my life is supposed to be out of the way, so that I can focus on what I'm manifesting and keep going towards my goals. So I'll use my tarot decks as a tool, and I'll pick the card I want. Sometimes I'll pick a card that represents a goddess that I feel close to, like out of a goddess oracle deck. I'll pick the goddess I want help from, and I'll stick that up in the bathroom, so that I'm constantly reminded that I'm not alone in it, that I have this. And it's not just my focusing, because every deck, the artists who make it are putting so much intention and magic into it. And then there's always this symbology layered on top of it. So even when we feel like we don't have the energy to do things and go through things, we have a tool at our fingertips.
So powerful. When my very first ritual I ever did, I bought from Phoenix Rising. It was a whole bath manifestation thing, and I just started into tarot, and I just drew the temperance card, and I did the whole ritual with that, and it was so powerful. It was life changing, and I haven't looked back. I've been following so much more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it's because you have, I feel, and what I'm hearing you say is that the focusing point of having the card, like if it had just been the bath, maybe your mind would have wandered,
it
right?
Really focused in, and it felt powerful, that card. Now every time I have that card, I have that reminder thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
I hear what you're saying. And with the layering, do you find that the more you work with it, more aspects start revealing themselves?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and I think that for me, that's why I'm more like, I can read anything. I can read your tea leaves, I can crystal scry, I can read anything. But I gravitate towards the tarot because I love the layering of symbology. And the more I learn about it, the more it seems to unlock.
We only know what we know, and I find that tarot just opens up, like you said, so much more.
No, don't be sorry. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I love it. Yeah, and you can use, like, I always want to be inclusive and say you can do all of these tools, and you can use oracle cards, you can use runes, you can use... I find, for me personally, it's hard for me to focus on manifestation in a crystal. Like, I have to cast a spell to get it in there because I feel like I'm working with an element of the earth, and I need to ritualize that more and work with it in order to empower it and charge it to work something with me or to work with me. But I feel like the cards are just ready. I think the other little piece is that you can use tarot or any of your cards as an extension of your magic, right? And you don't, like, not everyone at Pagan Pride practices ritual magic. A lot of us do. But you can start anywhere. And I find that as a tool, it meets you where you are. So if you're like Dave, he does some of the most intense and beautiful ceremonial magic of anyone I know. Like Dave has it aligned with stars and the time of day and the everything, and really elaborate, beautiful, powerful ritual. And so he can add it to the systems he's using. And if you are a crazy nature witch like me, you can just stick it on your mirror before you have a bath and it works just as well. There's something about the amount of time the symbols have had to work and how our collective conscience holds the idea of tarot cards, right? Collectively, in the zeitgeist of the world, tarot cards have power. We see it in our movies, we see it in our pop culture, we see it everywhere we go, that, ooh, the devil card. Like, oh, you pulled the magician. I was watching a show recently with my kids that they didn't like and were laughing at, and one of the bad guys, they showed him like getting out of the shower and he'd just done his kung fu moves, and part of his back tattoo was the Hangman tarot cards. I'm like, even here, right? So there's so much in the collective conscience, and anything that has that much power to it, it's there for us to pull from, right? The same as like if we think about how much a heart means, right? From when you're younger and you used to put like maybe a heart over the eyes, and like if you wrote the letter I, and now we like do heart symbols to people and emoji hearts. Like the actual symbol of a heart holds the power of love because we use it for that. So all the symbology in the tarot, it holds that power because that's what we use it for. And so it's there for us to manipulate and use. And those are heavy words, right? Like that's why people don't like witchcraft, because you're manipulating. But it's more like the way you manipulate clay to make a beautiful piece of pottery. Right.
Living with intention.
Well, that's the politically correct way of saying it. But I like to embrace the scary words because I feel like they hold power as well. Right? Because when we talk about weaving a spell, like the root word of spelling is spell. Right? So the idea of our words having power, everything we say having power. So if we intentionally use words like manipulate in a positive connotation, it has all of that oomph behind it. And yeah, I think the last little bit of my soapbox is that I challenge you to do that in life, to just, whatever it is, grab those little pieces of power and mold them and shape them and use them, because they're tools for you to use, right? We, especially as women, we beat with the drum of Mother Earth. We beat with Gaia's heartbeat. We are creation. And we are able to manifest, and we are able to change things. And you can use your deck as a tool. You can use your own artwork as a tool, whatever you need to use to tap into your innate inborn power to create the life you want to live. Yeah, that feels like a whole lecture, a very fast lecture. Does anyone else have a question? I'll answer anything. Doesn't about anything about witchcraft, about tarot, about any of that, about, yeah.
Do you find that your readings, like, do you ever create ritual around your readings? So, like, ritual before to, like, open or close them?
Yeah, so I have a ritual prayer I've been doing for a number of years before I come to an event such as this. I have a ritual. I call in helpers and guides. I call in protectors. And I call in the wisdom to really separate me from the message that needs to be received. So I always ask for the best and the brightest, the whole and the highest, to come to my aid, to give me the eyes to see, the ears to hear, the heart to understand, the wisdom to speak the truth for the best and brightest of my clients.
And then when I leave, and I do that especially if I'm in a big space like this, like my whole drive into Vancouver was like calling in this guide, making sure my power animal was around, because especially this event has so much chaotic, beautiful, abounding energy. Because when we come together and we work together, it's not your energy plus my energy. It's your energy multiplied by the exponent of my energy, multiplied by the exponent of your energy, multiplied. So it's very exponential and big, because we're supposed to work magic, is my belief anyway. And then when I leave, I will thank all my guides for all of their protection, for all of the work they've done with me, and then I ground and let it go. And sometimes I need to have like the biggest, greasiest burger to reground myself inside my very human form and come down from all the energy. And also when I do exchanges with clients, I'll say things like, and I'll leave that with you, and there you go now, because I'm giving myself a cue to disengage my energetic fields from their energetic fields. I think most of that has become like second nature, kind of like when you're in the kitchen, after you touch something sticky, you wipe your hands and you don't even realize before you go back to chopping vegetables. It's just become part of how I work, because I've been doing this a very long time. So I offer those words to you as a reader, but for sure expand them as sees fit for you. I know readers who envision like a very specific auric cloak around them, or they will do very specific, like they'll shake off the energy into the ground and kick their feet down, or they use aura sprays, whatever works. I used to use a lot more aura sprays than I do now. I think I have just gotten better at having good boundaries between my clients. As the boundaries in my personal life have gotten better, so have mine between client and reader.
Right, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Something I really have to work on more too. Like, I know how to put the boundaries up, and I do like the aura.
Yes. Oh my God, I know. And I work a lot with clients, like a lot with my students on this, because when we're doing readings, like boundaries between close people, right? Like I have very little emotional boundaries and spiritual boundaries between my children and I. Like we're healthy, like we're not weird. But when my kids are stressed out, I don't care how old they are, I will let them use my grounding cords, because that's just the kind of mom I am, and I know I can sustain that, right? I have shamanic teachers that are like, Jody, don't let them do that. They can use their own grounding. And I'm like, well, you talk to your own kids, because mine are using mine until they're 90, right? So as we build our interpersonal relationships, right, we have less boundaries with the people who are close to us. And because we bring our clients so close to us, because we're doing deep work with them, it can be really difficult to maintain boundaries with them. The best thing I've found is the more I work on my boundaries in relationships, the easier boundaries have been in spirituality. They reflect each other, very much so, right? So it's true that nothing can harm you unless you allow it. But if you can't tell a saleswoman no, you probably can't tell a trickster spirit no either. So if you work on saying to a telemarketer, go to hell, you'll be better at saying that to a spirit that you don't want either. Because I have found in my experience and in teaching people that our natural boundary between this physical world and us, it's very similar to our spiritual boundaries. So building your boundaries, just go piss off people you don't know. Just do it.
The thought of that gives me anxiety, so I probably should.
Right? Because you don't have to be mean, because I'm guessing that your idea of what would be atrocious to do to a stranger who's trying to spray you with perfume in Sears is probably not atrocious. It's probably just telling her to go away.
Yeah.
So if you can practice in those low stakes areas, it'll strengthen your spiritual boundary.
Okay.
Our auric field is like our body, right? It's our spirit body.
And just as our intestines can suck in the nutrients they need and can get rid of what we don't need, our auric field is that intelligent. Like, it's a part of your body. It's not some airy-fairy weird thing. It's physically part of your body. So just as every cell in your body knows how to absorb water properly, your auric field can absorb love all the time. It can dispel poison the same way that you will throw up if you drink salt water. Right? Your body's intelligent. Trust it. Trust your auric field and just work with it. Work with your auric field. You work with your psychic body. You work with it because it's part of you. That makes sense? Yeah. That's a great tangent, hey? I know, I couldn't think of what topic, and I tend to teach in circles. Any other questions?